Okay, I did my district profile on Chaffey Joint Union High School District. Okay, so some general information. It was established in 1911, and it's a school district made up solely of high schools. There's 12 different schools in this district, so this district is huge. It's made up of 8 comprehensive high schools, so these are our traditional public high schools that we know. A continuation high school, a value high school, an online high school, a community day school, an adult school, and it has many alternative programs. Now, some more general information is about how many cities is actually incorporated into these districts. So it covers the cities Ontario, Montclair, Rancho Cucamonga, portions of Fontana, Upland, Chino, and Mount Baldy. It's a lot of cities for one school district. And in 2005 and 2006, it was actually ranked as the 272nd school in terms of the top 500 largest public school districts in the nation. And in terms of high school district, it's number 4 in California. It has about 25,000 students. It's a lot of students. Now, Chaffey Joint has 2 main goals as a district as a whole. Now, there are site-specific goals, but when we're looking at this district, they made 2 main goals, which are to improve student achievement and improve classroom instruction. So they work hand in hand because there needs to be proper instruction for the students to achieve more. And so they use these achievements to work alongside their site-specific goals and implementation, but they really use this as a baseline of what they can do to work on their specific goals. Now, each site is going to be receiving monitoring and support and staff development from their principals as well as their staff leaders, and this happens throughout the year. So there's constant checking in to make sure that the staff is properly supported. And at the end of the year, all the principals of each school and the superintendent meet to discuss accomplishments, areas of concern, and what they can do to really make their district the best place for student achievement. And the superintendent will then make a report and give direction to the Board of Trustees and to the staff throughout the district at the end of each year. Okay, so some general information in terms of race and ethnicity in this district. You can see that 63% of the students are Hispanic and Latino, then followed by white and then African American. So you can see the breakdown of the percentages of the students. And you can see in 2013 and 14, there were 24,747 students total in this district, which is a huge, huge number. In terms of special programs, there about 10% of the district is made up of English language learners, with 9.5% of that being Spanish speaking students. And so there needs to be a lot of support for these English language learners to do well and to achieve. And so a lot of support comes from the district to do that. As well as English learners, a big program in this district is the free and reduced lunch prices, lunch and breakfast, I'm sorry. And so if you look, 56% of the students are in this program. And being in this program comes with many more resources, more so than just the free and reduced meals. When the students are getting ready to apply to college or take those tests such as the ACT or the SATs, many of them can get waivers for being a part of this program. So this program is a big part of this district, and it really provides the students with a lot more resources than what it entails by just the name. Next, we're going to look at eligibility for CSUs and UC schools. Now, we're looking at the 12th grade graduates, so the class of 2014. Now, there's a good breakdown here if you want to look closely at each ethnic group, but I want to focus more on the total. Now, if you see here, 45.9% of the students in Chaffey Joint were eligible for UC and CSUs, and I think that's a really good number. I mean, it could definitely grow, but the A through G requirements are all throughout their years in high school. So for 4 years, they're working on these requirements to make them eligible for these schools. That means there's 25,000 students that are working on these goals, and by the end of it, half of them made it to be eligible for the UCs and CSUs. Now, it doesn't seem like a lot when you're just thinking, oh, only half of them made it, but I think that's a huge number. That means they got the support and everything that they needed to achieve their goal of getting into the UCs. And 45% is a big number. Now, again, this district can definitely work on ways that they can improve this number with different interventions and different supports. But as of 2013, 2014, Chaffey Joint was in a good place in terms of the eligibility of their students for these schools. Now, looking at the financial trends, you can see it's a little bit up and down. Now, we're looking at total revenue per student from 2004 to 2013. Now, this includes federal, other state, and other local revenues that are provided for the students. And if you see from 2004 to the 2008 to 9 school year, there was a constant increase. Okay, and then something happened here where there's an 11.2% drop in the total revenues that were provided per student. Now, luckily, there's an increase, and then it kind of leveled out here from 2010 to 2013. Now, it has been a constant decrease, but it's a lot slighter. It's a lot more leveled out than the big jump of 11%. So, while it's not a constant increase, it's not too bad. I think there's a lot of things to kind of consider when it comes to where the finances are coming from and what's needed. And so there's always going to be fluctuation in that. And there wasn't any data for current financial trends in terms of the years after this. But just looking from here, you can see it's a little bit more level than the constant, fluctuation that's been going on here. Now, when we're looking at the expenditures by activity, you can really see the breakdown of how the money was spent. Now, this is for 2012 and 2013. And about 71% of it was used for instruction, 62% on instruction, with 9 being other instruction-related services. Now, the next biggest amount was plant services, which is more so of facility maintenance, where the students are actually at needs to be a nice place to learn. If the facility isn't maintained and kept nice and safe for the students, they're not in an ideal situation to learn. And after that is pupil services. Now, this includes guidance and psychological counselors, attendance and social work, health, a nurse on campus, speech and pathology, and it even includes transportation and food. And this is basically all the other types of resources that the students need outside of instructional work that needs to be there for them to be supported and properly managed for them to be successful just in school as in general. And then when looking at the local control and accountability plan, there's a lot of different goals that the district had, but I wanted to focus on these main 6 because looking at all the different goals, it looked like there was an emphasis on these 6 topics. So the first was student achievement. They wanted to look at the pass rates of all their testing, which was KC, their AP test. They wanted to look at their annual measurable achievement objectives. And they found that giving more resources to their AVID program, more accessibility to technology, and more options of intervention for the students to give them support were ways to increase student achievement. Next was the A through G completion, and a big way to kind of make that number go up was to provide A through G recovery and acceleration options, whether it was through credit recovery or remediation. And so they thought of online curriculum, before and after options for the students to actually go and either get ahead in these requirements or make up any credits that they may not have done well in, either failed the class or wasn't able to complete the class in. They thought of ways to do credit recovery during the school day so that it wouldn't get in the way of their current schedule, or even before or after school, so that they can continue to work on their credits without getting in the way of what they're currently working on. And lastly was summer school and providing more salaries for teachers and staff members so that students have more options for summer school. Fourth was access to technology, and this was something that would aid in student achievement right here. And reduce class sizes and basically getting more Chromebooks into these smaller classrooms was a huge remedy for them. Reduced class sizes is beneficial in so many different ways, and it's one of their ideas of basically helping them reach that goal, because it helps them to get more technology in there, get more resources in there so that the students can be one-to-one and also have just the space and the time to work with the resources and their teacher. Fifth was increased student opportunity and decrease suspension, expulsion, and dropout rates. Now, this is huge. You want the students to graduate. And so, ideas of intervention and ways to support these students that need an outlet to go to, different clubs to go to, different programs to go to be more successful. Awareness for the staff is huge in terms of students who may be homeless, who may be in foster care, and may not have the resources that they need at home to really support them. So they need to have that support at school. And then lastly is increased parent involvement, and they even went as far as thinking about ways that they can have professional development for the parents to better really prepare them for the changes that are coming with all the changes in the state standards and everything like that, to really get them more involved with their students, not only coming to school and volunteering, but also just being more involved with their education at home and what they could do to help support their child. In terms of their strengths, I focus on these four main strengths. They have a big emphasis on RTI, and I wanted to show you, if you go to the school's website, you can see, this is Chaffey Joint Union's district website, and they have a whole area for response to intervention, and you can see the different tiers. And if you actually click on these, it'll take you to a different website that will give you things that they can use to actually help support your child. So I think it's really cool because it's really specialized to what the student needs, okay, whether it's before or after tutoring, whether it's Saturday school, whether it's mentoring programs. They can get that and they can find different ways to support themselves or their students through the website. Another strength that they had is it contains a lot of schools that were first to pilot a lot of new programs, and I had a chance to talk to one of the administrators about this. They have this new program called AP Capstone, and a lot of high schools don't have this yet. It's in its second year right now, and it's a 2-year program basically where the students take an AP seminar and an AP research class. And Los Osos was actually selected to pilot this program as one of the few high schools selected by College Board to actually implement this program. And I talked to the administrator about it, and he was talking about how amazing this program is and how it's giving the AP students an option that a lot of the IB students have, and it's giving them another resource for them. It also provides parents with a lot of resources to help their student. Again, with the RTI portion of the website, parents can actually provide themselves with knowledge, but also it gives a lot of explanation about what CASP is, that testing that the students have to go through, what the Common Core standards are, and what the next generation science standards are, so that parents can know what's happening with these shifts in education so that they can better help their students. And it also has high performing students and community involvement. Community involvement is huge in this district. And a lot of the students are volunteering and working on other aspects besides just their grades and really giving back to their communities. And I wanted to show their graduation rate as another one of their strengths. If you look as a district, they have an 86.2% graduation rate. Again, this was in 2012 and 2013 school year. Having 86% of the students graduate, I think is huge, and that's a great number to have. Obviously, there's always room to grow, but I think that's a huge strength for this district. In terms of their challenges, they are a huge district. So in terms of funding, you want to look at how to allocate different funds and how to better support the schools. That's a big challenge. Their dropout rate, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit, is another challenge. And I put Rancho and Los Osos versus Chaffey and continuation because there's a lot of variety in the schools, even though they're in the same district. So Rancho and Los Osos have the really high performing students, the really high graduation and acceptance rates, whereas Chaffey and continuation schools are not as high. And then when we were talking about the UC and CSU eligibility, the number was about 45%, and I think that's something that can definitely be increased. Okay, and again, when we're talking about the dropout rates, you can see schools like Etiwanda, Los Osos, Rancho Cucamonga, they're not even 1% yet. But then we're looking at our continuation school, which has a 26.4% dropout rate. And that's something that can definitely be remedied and fixed to help their numbers and help their success of their students. Lastly, these are my recommendations for the schools. A lot of it is really to work on what they already have planned, such as, building building on their interventions, really increasing their parent involvement. And a huge thing I think is providing resources to the schools in the district that aren't as highly performing as the others, and really give equal opportunity to all the schools. And lastly, professional development is huge with this big shift to Common Core. Okay, and here are my references. Thank you for listening.